On a what?
She Tuesday show going on a Tuesday.
Got a question, Ryan.
What's that?
Is it Tuesday or is it Tuesday?
Well, it just depends, Matt. I think it just depends.
Okay. And we're not talking about doctors either.
No, I'm talking. I'm thinking, depending on how we start the show, depends on if it's Tuesday or Tuesday.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. Oh, I thought that was another part of the statement.
No.
I thought you were going, okay.
No.
No, leave that up to y'all.
But it is Tuesday.
It is indeed Tuesday.
And this is
episode 76, where it is literally 58 degrees warmer from the last time that we joined.
True.
In the freaking Arctic set that we had out there in Denver, which was pretty cool. It was
damn cool.
It was just kind of a random spot we found. It looked kind of cool, no pun intended, or maybe pun intended.
Maybe. I don't know how you look at it.
It was 11 degrees. It was cold as hell. Let's put it that way.
It was cold as hell here in New Orleans.
I'd say I heard New Orleans had it pretty bad.
Oh, he was up to his neck in snow, which I'm still a little resentful over. Just jealousy, that's all.
Just like to have a good time.
Hey.
But we represented very well, or I was maybe one of about 10 Pelican fans up there in Denver.
We're taking over.
And got booed out of my section in a funny way. The Denver fans are actually pretty nice. They're like, we suck. We kind of hope we get a lot of pick and all that stuff. But with that said, we'll kick it off a little bit different than like we've been lately, Ryan, because we actually have some football news.
Woohoo!
I feel like today I was spinning the trivia craft roulette wheel when it comes to free agency, Ryan. What the hell's going on?
Well, let's start with the hometown, because of course that's the most important.
Hometown?
I've been calling for this for a while, Matt. This is just me personally.
Okay.
I've been calling to get Jimmy Graham out of black and gold and get what he's worth while we can. Go back the last 2 seasons. San Francisco shut him down. Seattle shut him down. Dallas this season shut him down. He's soft. We've got one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now in Drew Brees, who is about 70 to 75% of the reason why Jimmy Graham is as good as he is in black and gold. He can't block. He takes a hit, and he's done for the game. And we get a first-round pick and a Pro Bowl center out of it? Well done, Mickey Loomis. Well done.
Yeah, it's not the 2 first-rounders that were offered to us supposedly from the Rams last year, but the Saints in the end give up a mid-round pick where it's kind of like, I was kind of on the fence about that, and we have to eat up some of his money this year. But after this year, he is off the books, so we have $9 million of dead money. But on the flip side, like you said, Ryan, the Saints get a first-round pick and a Pro Bowl center who is only 28 in the prime of his career.
Who's played in the last 2 Super Bowls.
Who has played in the last
postseason experience.
Yes, postseason experience, has protected Russell Wilson. And if any true Saints fan, and by true Saints fan, I mean anyone that has started watching the team before 2006. Yes, that was a shot.
Confirmation. Shots fired.
Got to protect the quarterback, Ryan.
Got to.
Drew is not 6'5" like a Aaron Rodgers or a Peyton Manning type of quarterback, and he's got to be able to see over his line. And a guy like Jonathan Goodwin in the Super Bowl year actually was a Pro Bowler that year. But if you have a solid interior line, it helps your quarterback out.
Look back on 2009. Of course, we're going to keep reflecting on that because it was the best season of franchise history. 13-3, Super Bowl champions. We had a dominant force in the trenches. The secondary on the defensive side of the ball was extremely good. But statistically, they were only middle of the road.
Yeah, the turnovers were different.
The turnovers were the difference, and who causes that? Havoc in the backfield. You take what we did on defense in 2009 and look at what Drew did this year. When you compare and contrast, it's similar. Our D-line caused havoc in the backfield. We got turnovers on the defensive side of the ball. Drew Brees threw a ton of interceptions this year. Why? Because teams were able to do exactly that, wreak havoc in our backfield. So we're bringing in a 28-year-old, 2-time Pro Bowl, 1-time Super Bowl champion, 1-time Super Bowl runner-up, and Max Unger, who's in the prime, like you said, Matt, the prime of his career.
Prime of his career. I mean, he's got probably 3-4 prime years.
At least 3-4 prime years left. You know, it brings a lot of solidity to the offensive line. You know what you're getting out of this guy. I think it's a great trade. I think we came out on top because of the first-round pick.
Yeah, I think it's a win-win for both teams, but just from looking at it from the Saints' perspective, you get a first-round pick. Now, quick history lesson. And the Mark Ingram one doesn't count because we traded the future first-round pick to get that pick, which we'd have lost anyway because of Bounty Gate. But
right.
So it was almost a – I hate to use the phrase blessing in disguise.
Kind of, maybe they knew it was coming.
Maybe so. And a lot of people kind of thought about that.
Speculation.
But the last time the Saints had 2 picks in the first round was in 2003. And everybody on the expert board were like, Saints are about to get themselves 2 10-year linebacker players in E.J. Henderson and Boss Bailey. And what do? We traded up. But that was a
different team,
another coach, another team regime. Now you have 13 and 31, I believe.
Yes, 13 and 31. Seattle being the runner-up.
It's a lot of options, Ryan. It's the option to do what the Saints did last time and trade up. They could stay. You could go Patriot style and use 31 and trade down 10 picks and maybe pick up a couple second-round picks. A lot of flexibility there, Ryan.
A lot of things could happen. And, one of the big questions was, okay, Pierre Thomas is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Now Jimmy's gone.
The Thomas one's still
the way I see it is this. Running backs only have between 3 and 5 prime years in the NFL. True. Pierre Thomas is our age. He's 30 years old.
Yes.
He will not play 16 games. He won't. No, he is injury prone at 30 years old. He's probably the #1 screen back in the NFL. That's the hard part. But we have to remember, he's 30 years old. He didn't play all of last season. He played the majority, but not all of it.
This is the other thing that I find valuable. He is the best pass blocking running back on that team by far.
Yeah, hands down.
And that's what kind of shocked me.
Hands down. But when you're looking at the 13th,
like you said, Ryan, he's 30 years old.
Right. When you're looking at the 13th and then the 31st pick, you're left with a lot of different options. The Saints have already got Max Unger as the new probable starting center in New Orleans. We got to think to build this lineup. Teron Armstead is on the up and coming.
Yes.
Zach Strief is kind of in limbo. You get good games out of him, then you get whiffs out of him. So do we use the 2 to move up and grab a top of the line O-lineman in the first 10 picks or first 5 picks, or do we wait and see how things unfold until 13 and see if the likes of Amari Cooper? We wonder who we're going to go to now that Jimmy's replaced. Well, we got Josh Hill and we've got Ben Watson. Both can block, both can catch, both are athletic. Bye, Jimmy.
You got Cooks as your explosive weapon. Colson can still be reliable. He's not your #1, but he's a guy that can still be.
But he's your go-to.
He's a possession receiver. Hopefully he gets rid of the case of the drops, which was unusual for him last year.
Off season.
The guy definitely takes a beating, and after that, it's kind of up in the air. Maybe somebody will step up. You never, like I said, Tavius Jones. That's right. You got
Stills. You got Stills.
Stills and Tune.
So we've got 4 standout wide receivers. Oh, no, I say standout.
I say Stills has come Tunes to us, but Tune has made some plays.
Tune sure has. Stills has shown he has breakaway speed, but like I said,
Stills reminds me of young Colston.
Yeah, with a little less reliable hands.
Yeah.
Colston caught everything.
But he's getting better. But,
right.
Or actually, Colston, maybe Colston's bad example. Let's go with it's kind of like a Willie Jackson, Joe Horn, more type of thing.
You open the lid off the defense, but still reliable from 8 to 15 yards.
Yes. But you brought up a good point in Amari Cooper, Ryan, in that if they see him fall to like a 9 or 10, does Peyton pull the trigger and give up both picks to get him because he loves his big offensive weapons? Or do the Saints hold put and not necessarily maybe at 13, if somebody like a Lyle Collins is there at 31 or an offensive tackle? Yeah.
What if Lyle Collins was available at 13 or 31? It would be a terrible, terrible management decision to not draft Lyle Collins.
The best part is you don't have to start left tackle. Armstead has a couple years there now. You can move Collins to right. The good thing about Zach Strief, he's versatile. He has played all over the line. All over the line.
Tackle, guard, and center.
And center, yeah. So
you got a guy
Strief has some good
Strief.
Yeah.
You know, you can move him around
and you need depth on the offensive line.
Absolutely. We're going to need a couple extra guys to rotate in and out, you know, depending on the packages Sean uses. But when you're looking at the talent that's coming out of the draft moving into the 2015 season, you know, with 2 first-round picks, you could really do some damage to put this team back in the driver's seat of the NFC South. And not just the NFC South, the NFC.
Yeah.
You know, if we get battles won in the trenches, Seattle, we coming. Dallas, we coming. Green Bay, we coming. We would, you know, 7-9 last year could have easily been 13-3. Easily been 13-3. We close out games, we save a couple of turnovers, and, you know, we're in the NFC Championship based on just record alone.
Game of inches, Ron. It's one in the trenches.
And I rest my case.
Yeah.
I rest my case. We won the game in the trenches in 09.
The margin of error is very small, but we'll see what's up. I think the Saints' crazy train of free agency is just getting started.
I was about to say, just getting started. We haven't even talked about the defensive side.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with that. There's so many rumors going around that we'll probably know a lot more, especially next week, about this.
First order of business.
Okay.
Personally, again, I'm no coach. I'm just a guy on a webcam TV show that we enjoy doing. You got to guarantee Keenan Lewis's money. You got to lock him down.
You know, I was looking at his contract. It's actually not that bad. In a perfect world, I wish we could move more of it to this year. Is there any way? And I can see it as
structure, but
I can see
that cap hit.
Well, I saw they can't restructure, so why not extend them?
Say no, we're not going to guarantee you for 3. We'll guarantee you for 4.
Give him 4. Don't fully guarantee it, but maybe guarantee what he was looking for, and almost rework the contract.
I mean, Loomis has worked magic before, but you know, when you do something like that where you extend the money, you cut the salary hit, the cap hit for this year.
It's a quick fix.
You know, but it also what it does is it allows cap space for the likes of Brandon Browner. Yes. I want this guy in black and gold. I really want Brandon Browner in black and gold. He played phenomenal in Seattle. He looked pretty damn good as the number 2 in New England, aside from Revis. You know, this guy brings a smash mouth attitude to the Saints that we haven't really truthfully seen, even though Ryan's tried to create it, that we haven't seen since Bountygate.
This Bounty defense.
Me too.
I like Bounty.
Me too. I like Bounty defense too for 2 reasons.
One is Kurt Warner. I still have his autographed football.
And the other one is Brett Favre. Ask them about Bounty defense.
Well, they'll be the first ones to tell you that they didn't think it was Bounty defense. They said that's football. Said yeah, it was hard hits. It might have been a little late, but it wasn't anything they weren't used to.
And we weren't the most spectacular team on paper that year. But if we bring in Keenan Lewis, we keep Keenan Lewis, we bring in Brandon Browner, Vaccaro gets his head out of his ass. You know, we have a very talented defense that just hasn't been gelled together yet. So it'll be real interesting, man. Like you said, it'll be real interesting to see what the free agent market brings in the next couple weeks.
Let's get Revis too while we're at it.
Oh. You gonna shell out the money for it and then write a petition to Goodell to raise the cap?
No, but we do have Popeye's biscuits.
This is true. That's a trump card right there.
We have Edie White biscuits.
We have Popeye's biscuits. We have Edie White biscuits. We have crawfish, and we have Purvis Street. Revis, bring your island down to New Orleans. Just don't get in trouble.
And don't make sure it's tropical for copyright.
That's right. Well done. Well done.
With that said, Ryan, flipping it to the hardwood, it's Conference Championship week. SEC tournament is this week. LSU earned the double bye, almost sort of backing into it, but is around where we thought they'd be preseason. We thought they'd be a top 3 or 4 team in the SEC. They earned the 4 seed, get the double bye, and we'll play the winner of Texas A&M and the winner of the Mississippi State and Auburn game.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mississippi State and Auburn play. The winner plays A&M. The winner of that game advances to the 3rd round of play.
He plays LSU at approximately 240. Ironically, Ryan, LSU has lost to all 3 of those teams this year.
Good.
So
we're gonna beat State worse than Dak Prescott got beaten in Panama City yesterday.
That was
confirmation part 2. Shots fired again.
That was definitely shots fired. And the Tigers will have their shot at that in Starkville in the fall of 2015 for sure. But
yes, I didn't just say that.
Yes.
I think you're still trying to process that. Yeah. Yes, I just said it.
Yes. I want A&M. And I want Kentucky.
I mean, if you're gonna go big, go big.
Why not?
You know,
because if LSU wins, they're gonna play Kentucky because Kentucky ain't losing. That's for sure.
But you know, LSU sits right now as a projected 10 seed in Lenardi's bracketology. That's still yet to be decided officially. A lot of that rides on how we play in the tournament. You know, we could potentially rise to a 7, maybe an 8 seed if we win 2 games in the SEC tournament. But the hard part about that is we advance past A&M, and look who we got to play.
Yeah, and
the winner of Kentucky.
If LSU loses their SEC tournament game, unless they lose by 30, I think they're in.
I think we're in regardless.
Yeah, well.
Oh, if we get wiped off the court, then that's one thing.
And then you start sweating out, then you have conference tournament upsets with the smaller mid-major schools that steal bids. But if LSU loses, I could see them dropping in there, maybe having to play in the playing games as the 11-12 seed. Well, they're technically in, but hey, VCU ran it all the way to the Final Four doing that a couple years ago.
This is true.
But it adds an extra game, and you only get 2 days to prepare for your next opponent after that. But if LSU can stay somewhere around that 10 seed, the good thing about that is they avoid the 1 seed.
Yes.
And they can get matched up with the likes of somebody like maybe an Oregon or something like that. Who
the 7.
Yeah. And that's where the projection was today. That's going to change it many times. But they had them listed in Omaha, which is LSU North. LSU would have a lot of their alumni fans in Omaha.
Houston traffic. Houston alumni there.
Their baseball fans in Omaha would definitely go support them basketball, and Barrett's Barley Corn would be the place to be. I miss that place very much. I want to go back. It was a lot of fun.
You know, if you look at the brackets over the past, decade, maybe a little bit more since Gobert and I have been following this like it's a religion every March, you always see the 5-12 upsets.
Yes, every year they have at least one. I think
6 and 11, the 7s and 10s, and then the 8 and 9 isn't really an upset because the teams are pretty evenly matched.
In fact, I think the 9 wins 51% of the time.
51% to 49%. That's pretty dead even if you ask me. Mm-hmm. So if we did get a 10 seed and we draw somebody like Oregon, or out of a less strong Pac-12, or we might get lucky and draw a 7 seed of a small mid-major conference tournament champion who's not a nationally ranked team. So that would rule out, the likes of Gonzaga. That would rule out the likes of Wichita State, Northern Iowa, who's playing out their minds right now. It would rule out those teams, but you draw somebody like, I don't know, for example, somebody like Wofford, who's probably going to get in as a 14 as a conference champion with a losing record. But, when you look at it like that, it sets LSU up for the potential to at least win 1, if not potentially 2 games. Right. LSU could be the dark horse Sweet 16 team that nobody really wants to even think about when the brackets are released.
And I told somebody this at work today, actually. I go, LSU is going to be the team in the tournament that's either A, going to lose by 30 in the first round, or make an Elite 8 run. That's just the type of team.
Boom or bust.
I don't think there's anything in between. I think one of the two is going to happen.
We get the crap beat out of us at home by Tennessee, and then we go into Little Rock and beat number 18 Arkansas in game 1 at 3-1.
And other than maybe Rupp, and maybe even including Rupp, is the hardest place in the SEC to win at in the road, Bud Walton Arena. That is a very difficult place.
Yeah, it is.
And I couldn't even.
We take Kentucky down to the wire, but A&M blows us out on our own home court. It's boom or bust with this team, man. They're the most consistently inconsistent team we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, and the funny thing was somebody was saying after the Tennessee loss, we may have inadvertently knocked A&M out because they now are 0-6 against the top 50 RPI, and they are the first team out of the tournament right now. A&M has to do damage in the SECs, or they're going to the reject tournament.
The National Invitational, which means you suck just enough to not make the tournament. The real tournament.
Congratulations, you're going for number 69.
Good job, Aggies. Garrett Hornsby called. That's all he had to say.
I have nothing. You can't really top that. You just kind of leave it at that right there.
Speaking of Tigers,
the LSU baseball team moving on up to number 2 in the country.
Well, it depends on what poll you follow.
Yeah, I usually try to average them out.
I try to go for the highest one. Blind optimist.
Which is very surprisingly Baseball America, which is very ACC biased.
Yes, that they are.
That was the last one I expected. The guy does it. I think his name's like Aaron Fitt or something like that. He's also known as Thug POS on Tiger Droppings for his ACC bias. But yeah, LSU's in the top 4, I believe, in every single poll.
Right where they should be.
Right where they should be. Only undefeated team actually is A&M, who played in the Houston Classic this week.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So they played the likes of Houston and Nebraska and Baylor as well.
Yes, and they them and LSU were the two teams that went undefeated in the Classic this week. A&M, I think, skyrocketed up to somewhere in the top 15. Something like that. They're 16
if you're undefeated in college ball right now.
Yeah, their schedule was soft going in.
I don't care who you play if you're undefeated this far into the season.
Yeah, but A&M kind of proved themselves. They may be a pretty decent team in the SEC this year. LSU and A&M will have their match off in Alex Box Stadium in late April, I believe. I want to say the second week of Jazz Fest, something like that. But with that said, LSU tomorrow night, their game actually has been moved up to 4 o'clock against McNeese, who their former player, Justin Hill, I believe, has been their head coach for the last couple of years. Is kind of ironic, but small world story. His wife actually was in a lot of my mass comm classes.
Nice.
Really nice guy. Real nice family. Got 2 very nice daughters, and he's actually done a pretty decent job with McNeese today. You know, I believe they had a winning record in the Southland last year, finished 3rd. So maybe they're a dark horse this year, but they'll have their hands full with Nichols, who's doing pretty decent so far this year.
And after we played Nichols, we won 12 straight. After that being the only loss we've had on the season.
That was a surreal loss.
I mean, sometimes it happens.
It does.
There was a team we lost to last season that, if it wasn't for the weather and the game being called after 6 innings, we would have probably never lost the game. But it was another in-state BS giveaway. Doesn't matter. They didn't make the World Series, so I could care less.
Even worse, they lost to Ole Miss.
True.
Ole Miss.
Speaking of
Ole Miss,
we open up SEC play this weekend in the box,
and we'll find out what kind of team does Ole Miss have. They lost some talent from last year.
Sure did.
Or are they a caliber team this year? Some people think they'll drop off. We'll find out.
First pitch Friday night.
Poche's on the mound, and the 2 freshmen, Lange and Godfrey, got some very valuable experience pitching in let's call it a neutral site in very loose quotation marks at the confines of Minute Maid
You
Park.
call it a neutral site when we got 16,000 purple and gold fans in the crowds? I don't know about that.
And
it just was an LSU home game, not at the box.
Houston Classic wanted LSU again next year already, but we already had a commitment, so they said we'll probably go in 2017. Unfortunately, in their place, and that other school you talked about earlier will actually be playing in that next year. And we'll probably get dominated by the SEC schools. But
what else is new?
Yeah.
Let's see what the Black Bears have to offer this weekend, Matt. Is Lange going to throw on Saturday?
Lange will be throwing on Saturday, and Godfrey will be throwing on Sunday.
You just might have to take the missus up there. She's never been.
Should be good weather this weekend on Saturday and Sunday. The rain should be gone by the time on Friday night as well. But SEC play starts. We'll know a lot more about LSU in the next couple of weeks. This weekend was a good test, though. I think this will get them ready for conference play, especially going on the road to Arkansas, who is a little down this year, but Arkansas is always a very tough place to win in baseball, as it is in
that's right.
And Arkansas, another team with one of the best facilities in college baseball. Ball field, it's like a glorified minor league ballpark.
And plus, you got to consider they've had a dominant bullpen and starting lineup for years. I mean, I can go back.
Dave Van Horn's done a very good job.
Probably before you and I got out of high school, Arkansas had some studs on the hill, and they just keep, much like LSU, next man up, next year up, next man up. Who's going to be the Rocket that we're going to have this year? So, I think Arkansas had a disappointing showing over the weekend. If I'm not mistaken, they lost a game to a much smaller school.
Yeah, like I said,
I can't remember who they played, but it was a shocker to us.
Yeah, they're supposed to be a little bit weaker this year, and some people were saying maybe Ole Miss. Now, by weak, I'm not saying they're going to be god awful.
Right.
I mean, they're still going to be a regional team.
I mean, weak for Arkansas as a regional team that might make a super region.
Yeah, exactly. But the SEC is definitely loaded as it is every year. I mean, Florida's way up there. South Carolina's very good again. Vanderbilt is even though they've had some losses, Vanderbilt is still a national title contender just with the pitching alone.
Right.
I mean, A&M ball teams. You can never count Moose State. Moose State somehow puts together a pretty decent base. I mean, it's
the SEC. Welcome to another sports season in the SEC.
LSU is running the gauntlet the next 10 weeks in baseball.
Starts on Friday with the Black Bears. But the Rebs.
With that said, next week is the Double Seven, Ryan, and it's our March Madness special where we get to pick the entire bracket. That's always a lot of fun.
Tune in. It's going to take a little while.
Yes, it will.
I think it took us about an hour and some change last year to do it.
It was probably that's pretty accurate.
I think we might have to kick up the airtime.
Maybe.
Might have to do 7:15, 7:30. 7:30 worked good tonight.
Yeah.
Might have to, because I know everybody got to get up for work in the morning, and everybody likes to tune into our March Madness show, and it's going to get quite interesting.
Right.
Speaking of, before we let the fans go, when is it Sunday? Selection Sunday?
Selection Sunday.
Is this Sunday? Okay. That was my question. That's all.
And also, we'll be posting more stuff to our Facebook if you want to join the Matt Ryan Show basketball pool. $10 bracket, 2 bracket max.
Or we might do one just for the fans to see if you can pick against the experts.
That's true.
Friends, join in for the money. Fans, join in to see if you can take us down. Good luck.
See what happens. Also, if anybody wants to let us, do our March Madness show from your establishment next week and give us food and beer, that'd be cool too. Or at least a discount,
Again, what he said. Let's call around. Might have to find an offsite. Getting the hell out of the studio.
They just need some internets.
We need the interweb.
We need some interweb hotspot, whatever the hell.
Does Walk-Ons have internet? Does Walk-Ons have Wi-Fi?
Walk-Ons does have Wi-Fi. But I don't know if they have strong enough Wi-Fi. Everybody else is going to be using their Wi-Fi. We have to tell everybody to put their phones in airplane mode.
Everyone stop what you're doing. The Matt Ryan Show has arrived at Walk-On.
Put your phones on airplane mode and quit using up all the bandwidth.
Yes, indeed. We need a bouncer for the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that would just tape it and freaking put it on tape to lay it.
Hey, whatever. Whatever works.
Whatever works. We'll steal Basco's. Acquire Basco's camera.
Acquire. Borrow permanently.
We don't do crimes and stuff. That's it. Ryan, you got anything?
Nope. I think I'm gonna go eat for the fourth time today.
Yeah,
I ate before I came.
I'm still hungry too. I had part of my dinner. But, gotta eat the other part.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Who dat?
Who dat?
Take flight.
Real world finale tonight if you want to see people fight.
I love drama TV.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Then you got challenge after that.
Oh, yeah. Challenges the best.
We want royalties MTV for that free plug.
Team on 4.
Yeah, that or let's do the Matt Ryan show from one of those exotic
How
locations.
cool would that be if we got the Matt Ryan show with like MTV-S? Created MTV Sports.
MTV Sport.
It's all coming to
that idea cannot be used without the patented trademark of Elena Fernandez. I don't know. See, we're trying to help our lawyer friends out too. They got to pay for the 2 babies. Daycare is not cheap.
Trust me, it's not.
Especially, they have 2 daughters. They got 2 kids in daycare.
Yeah, but they're both attorneys. Never mind. I'm not going to get into their personal lives. With that being said, Matt.
Not America.
Good night, America.